The views and opinions expressed on this broadcast are not necessarily those of either WGCV 620 AM, its staff or management, or our parent company, Glory Communications Incorporated.
South Carolina, the nation, and the world. We put it all in perspective with Armstrong Williams up next on WGCV 620 AM.
Have you ever seen those consumer news websites? They say how great acai berry supplements are. Guess what? They're fake. And the Federal Trade Commission has ordered them to close down and fine them $500,000. Message: don't believe everything you read. Spirit Airlines, they've been fined $100,000 for not keeping track of complaints about their treatment of disabled passengers. And Finnair, they've been fined $35,000 for deceptive advertising. Zappos, the online shoe store, well, they may want to get in a pair of those shoes and walk on out of here. They've been contacting their 24 million customers, telling them about the security breach that may have revealed their personal information to hackers. And now 10 states are getting into the act, saying they'd like just a little more information on just exactly what Zappos is doing to protect their customers, notify them, and keep it from happening again. I'm Stacey Cohen. Learn more at consumeraffairs.com.
Opinion, debate, conversation. Only on WGCV, KC, Columbia, 620 AM, where knowledge is power.
Hello, everyone. This is Armstrong Williams on the right side. Armstrong. Don't curse, speak English. Armstrong. Virtuous society. Armstrong. I dare you to listen. Hey, turn it up. Hey. Armstrong. Get on the right side. Armstrong. Elevate your mind. Armstrong. I'm Armstrong Williams on the right side. Armstrong. Yo, man, it's your boy K.O. And you're tuned in to the most conservative of our brothers. Armstrong. The Armstrong Williams Show. Please give me a break.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to this edition of the Armstrong Williams Show. Thank you so much for joining us. You can go to our live stream at www.livestream.com/Armstrong Williams. That's www.livestream.com/Armstrong Williams to talk to us today. We're just waiting on Milo and Mike Valdez. We're going to have a little fun today. Going to talk a little. Everybody knows I love discussing the private sector. I love this entrepreneur stuff, and I just admit I love it. Yes, I do. I love it. I love it. I love it. I've learned so much about technology over the last couple of years. It has just been completely amazing for me what I've learned about technology. I mean, a couple of years ago, I would have been a novelist. I don't know. People are so intimidated by technology, and I understand why, because it seems as though you don't have the ability to understand it. But I'm telling you, it's so simple. That's why children can understand it so well. Yes, that is the truth. That is true. And I take a thrill in trying to learn something new every day in terms of technology. There's so many applications. I like to learn it for myself. Just like I had to learn a whole new lesson in the studio, learning how to operate the equipment. Initially, I was a little intimidated, but you know me, I'm a big boy. You know, big boys are like big dogs. They step up to the plate. Milo Pinckney, what's going on, man? I'm not hearing Milo.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I hear you now.
Hello? Hello?
Yes, Milo, I hear you.
Oh, good. Good afternoon. How are you today?
Good afternoon, Milo. Milo, I'm trying to figure out what's going on with the next American entrepreneur, man. I'm waiting on you.
Well, we're moving along, Armstrong. We're moving along. Matter of fact, we had some discussions today looking for some additional sponsors for the program to get some other corporate participants. And we're moving along.
Yeah, because
what would you like to know?
I did what you asked me to do.
Well, I'm reciprocating on our end.
Okay.
So the process is moving along nicely. I'm actually waiting for some feedback from two prospective franchisors to participate in the program, but we should be ready to start accepting applications in the next week or so.
You know, what do you think about the brewing conflict in the Middle East? Does
Well,
it, does it
it's
affect?
interesting. I think that it's a situation that has a long, long history, a couple of thousand years worth to be exact. And I don't suspect that it's one that we're going to resolve. I'm 52 years of age, and it hasn't come close to being resolved in my entire lifetime. And I don't suspect that it's going to. I think that it's a cultural dynamic that is just part of that region's functionality.
I saw somewhere today, which caught me a little off guard, that the unions in Greece are set to strike over austerity. Greek union members are expected to go on a day-long strike to protest new austerity measures sought by foreign leaders as the country negotiates to keep its finances afloat. Now, officials in Greece, Milo, are under pressure to reach an agreement on a new bailout package with the threat of a default hanging over their country. You know what? These citizens, because of what they have been given and they've not really lived in the real world of economics and austerity, they're really clueless as to what is at stake here.
Well, I don't know that they're clueless. I mean, I think $130 billion bailout deal is you can't be clueless to even ask for it. There has to be some backline. I think the problem is that Greece's request for a bailout structure presents a challenge to anybody or any group of nations willing to participate in it, in that it was a country whose economic system was so grossly mismanaged for so many years that they find themselves in the situation they're in to begin with. I don't know that there's an easy solution there. I think that the beginning point is going to be based around the unions and labor first coming to grips with the fact that austerity is not something that they have to negotiate. Austerity is a factor of need. It is what it is. They have no choice.
But they feel they have a choice.
Well, it's interesting. We went through that in the Industrial Revolution in America. We went through that again in the 70s here in the United States. Unions nearly wiped out our nation's economic viability through excessive demands, feather bedding, and so forth. And when it came to terms that companies were going to shutter their doors, the unions reevaluated their position and adjusted in a manner to support a revitalization of our industrial system. I don't see why Greece's workers feel any differently as it relates to their need to adjust. I just don't understand how you stick your head in the sand and say, no, pay me what I think I'm worth, regardless of whether or not the dollars are there. It just doesn't work that way.
How do you think America should embrace Europe? Should we open up the floodgate? Is the embargo way overdue to end?
Well, much of Europe are allies of ours, some passive, some active allies. So we can't take an isolationist position as it relates to Europe's economic situation. But the reality of it is, a default from Greece will result in Greece being forced to step out of the Euro monetary union. And in doing so, it will destabilize all the other Euro participants, which many of whom are our strategic and economic allies. That collapse is a collapse that we'll feel domestically here as well.
This is Armstrong Williams Show. We're live. So Milo, we have something pretty different and exciting today. Mike Valdez, welcome to the show.
Thank you, sir, very much.
Oh, you sound good, man. You sound good. I would like for you to tell Milo and our audience, and Milo is in Atlanta, and you may have seen this in the Atlanta airport and other airports around the country. But I want you to explain, because right now this is our technology, innovation, entrepreneur segment. I want you to tell our audience much about yourself, and just tell them what you created in the field of technology, which is about to blow up in the world. And we know this. We won't get into those details, but talk about your creation, because I want to get Milo's response to it, because he has not been briefed and know in no particular way about what we're discussing. So go ahead, Mike Valdez. And Mike Valdez is from Salt Lake City, Utah.
What we've done is we created a kiosk, and we placed them in some of the airports. We now have some locally in some grocery stores, malls. But consumers can walk up to our kiosk, and you can download movies, music, audiobooks to any digital device, handheld device, such as any smartphone, SD card, computer, laptop. So we're basically a distribution channel that's a kiosk similar to an ATM in these areas. So one of the things we've done by putting is giving people an option, another alternative to if they don't have access to the internet, they don't have access to some of the technologies and so forth, and that's what we've created so far at this point right here. My background is mostly manufacturing. We partnered with some software companies, and we think we've created a new and exciting platform for people to get content.
Are you surprised in hearing this, Milo? I know you think you've seen a product like this before, but their product is quite different, quite unique, and he just said something very interesting, man. Milo, he's a manufacturer.
Mm-hmm. I'm familiar with this product, actually. I think it's a great solution to a growing problem in our country.
Wow.
Everything we're manufacturing, here at home. We manufacture here in Salt Lake City. We have again, my background is I was a defense contractor building aircraft parts and components for the federal government for about 12 years when we had the idea to branch off into the entertainment business here. So, this thing creates a lot of jobs for people. The technology is always changing. So we got a great engineering program, design, development.
Tell me a little bit about your plans to expand reach into some of the rural areas in America where what you're doing could actually significantly change the way people get content.
And that's the beauty of this is, we actually have, worked a lot of different areas as far as creating this brand. And then recently, about a year and a half ago, a gentleman from Lester Pace from Interscope Records contacted me, and he said that in the rural areas is where a lot of the kids, they don't have laptops, they don't have computers, they don't have credit cards, things of this nature. And if we could figure out a way to get content or music to them, to their devices and their phones on single tracks, he says we could actually change the music industry. And so that's how the Music Box name was created, and where we thought, if we can take these, manufacture these at a inexpensive enough price, and design a concept that we can go in and we can put these in barbershops, in convenience stores and grocery stores, and make it real accessible, we think we can have a real impact on the industry.
Something I have an interesting thought for you.
Okay.
We're working on the next great American entrepreneur here on the Armstrong Williams Show. Why don't we chat about whether or not there's an opportunity for Music Box to help develop some new entrepreneurs by territorial expansion of your program?
We would love that, because this has been quite a challenge for us, because it branches off into so many arenas. One thing we've done to help solidify the revenue is we've also created an advertising platform on top of the digital download platform.
Hold that.
I think we have something very exciting to add.
Hold this. Mike, hold there. Milo, hold there. We're going to come back. We're going to continue this discussion. We're talking about technology. We're talking about entrepreneurs. We're talking about manufacturing. I'm Armstrong Williams. Don't go away.
Armstrong Williams returns in a moment.
Preventive care is a critical component of limiting lifetime complications for persons with diabetes. According to the Society for Vascular Surgery, when complications develop, aggressive management of contributing factors to atherosclerosis, otherwise known as hardening of the arteries, is also very important to managing the disease and preventing stroke, heart attack, and leg amputations. Atherosclerosis is a known side effect of long-term diabetes that, in the worst-case scenarios, may lead to blockages in the diabetic's heart, brain, or leg arteries. If you have diabetes, see a vascular surgeon to care for your arteries and blood vessels. Today's vascular surgeons are the only specialists who are skilled in all vascular therapies. They're comprehensively trained in medical, endovascular, and surgical therapies. Vascular surgeons are the experts who provide the best diagnosis and treatment for vascular conditions. To learn more about your vascular health and to find a vascular surgeon, visit the Society for Vascular Surgery's website at www.vascularweb.org.
Travelers along the road of life who have fallen asleep at the wheel, to the many who woke up in time to avert disaster and get back on the righteous path. For the ones who crashed and survived and now adhere vigilantly to a virtuous and righteous path. Finally, Armstrong Williams' much-anticipated new book, Reawakening Virtues, gives his insights into these daily challenges and much more. Reawakening Virtues is available in bookstores and at Amazon.com. For more information on The Armstrong Williams Show, please visit our new website at www.rightsidewire.com. There you can find his syndicated column archive, view live streams, and get your favorite conservative pundits' views on the current issues affecting the American people. From building wealth to foreign policy, stay connected with Armstrong Williams and his colleagues at the all-new www.rightsidewire.com.
What if your son or your husband,
your brother, came back from the service with a spinal cord injury?
Paralyzed Veterans of America helps our veterans secure their benefits. You can help. Visit pva.org, a public service of Paralyzed Veterans of America.
If you have a question or comment for today's Armstrong Williams Show, call 733-5620. That's 733-5620. Call and be a part of today's Armstrong Williams Show on 620 AM, where knowledge is power.
Where heads of state, sports, entertainment, and political celebrities meet. You're listening to Armstrong Williams.
You know, Milo, we're going to come back to the part about the next great entrepreneur. But what is it that makes some innovation works over others? I mean, you've seen some great ideas. Is it the funding? Is it the creativity of the originator of the idea? Is it their aggressiveness? Is it getting it before the right people? Get the kind of attention that could sort of give it a lift off? What is it that separates one's innovation over the next?
Is that for me or for Mike?
For both of you. We'll go with you first, Milo.
Well, I think that it's a combination of things. You know, one thing great about is that there are no original ideas. There's only ideas that people work upon, and in doing so, realize opportunity. In the case of a technology product, I think there's a combination of things. The idea obviously is of import, but I think the deployment and the simplicity of that deployment is really what enables technology to make significant inroads. When you look at the iPod and how it revolutionized music. Remember, Microsoft, Apple didn't create the MP3 player. It was created way before. But what they did was they simplified it and made it stylistic so that it became a cultural icon and a component of many people's daily lives. I think that's really one of the key things in technology is the simplification of it.
You know, and I couldn't agree more, because that's some of the hurdles and stuff we've faced. We're still those guys trying to break through, but one thing that we've done is we've had to go back to the beginning, and this thing offered so many different avenues for us to chase that it got a little overwhelming at times. So we had to bring it back, simplify it, and say, okay, let's get back to the end user on this, and we've had to turn ourselves into the end user and take it out and do some marketing with it to say, okay, is this thing, do I get it? Do I understand it? Is it very easy to use? And with some other technologies and software and so forth, it's allowed us to make some huge advancements in the last year that is really just simplifying this down to something real basic that people need, that people get, and that people want.
What about, is this the same way that people think when you're thinking about the advent of technology in medicine, Milo?
Absolutely. I think, interestingly, you mentioned medicine, less so in medicine because medicine advances in medical technology have less of a cultural influence as entertainment-based technology or communications or information management technology does. it doesn't touch as broad an audience as the aforementioned methods do. But information technology, the way we interface and gather data today has changed. It's funny. Ask a kid today about an encyclopedia, and they look at you like you have three heads. But when we were growing up, that was the way you gathered information in broad strokes. Today, it's the web. Again, simplicity and access is really the key operating components of significant advances in technology.
Mike, what does it take first to know you had the right idea, to get people interested in it, to get it into the market, especially in airports? I mean, to me, that's some of the toughest real estate in America.
That's where we found out, right away that, there's, but my background being a defense contractor really helped a lot because, working with the government and some of the red tape and things you have to go through, I think ultimately, it pays off in the end, but we found, quite a few different hurdles, to get it in front of the right, people. But we thought that the airports would be a great way to do that because you have an experienced traveler. We got a lot of different, diverse situations that we can test this model in. So we really enjoy being in the airports with it.
Wow. So, listen, what about someone listening to the show today and they want to get involved in innovation and technology? They have these ideas because we're always reading about people who come up with these incredible ideas and they get all this incredible funding. Milo, you probably know more about this. What is it that attracts an angel investor? What are they looking for?
It's interesting. Angel investors are attracted by a couple of things, and usually not what we would most frequently expect. Profitability is almost second today. The biggest thing angel investors are looking for is growth and growth velocity. When I'm looking at investment opportunities, I'm looking at an ROI, but more importantly, I'm looking at the scalability of the product so that I can maximize that ROI over a broader base. I think that's really the biggest thing. But I think in the case of what Mike's doing, interestingly enough, his opportunity for growth is going to come from tapping into new markets above and beyond the ones that he already exists.
Mike, would you like to add to that?
No, I think we agree. One thing, is we've done is, we've looked at some third world countries, foreign countries. We've got different negotiations going on in areas where there is not as much distribution, where a lot of the distribution channels we have here in the States don't exist. So, again, I think, like you say, Milo says is correct. We're trying to find and tap into those markets that people haven't already discovered, that we're finding quite a bit of success right there. It's very attractive.
733-562-01866-620-6620. Milo, why don't you talk to our audience, because we do get emails about what is Yellow Llama, what is it you guys do. They want you to talk about it more extensively, about you as an entrepreneur and why it works.
Well, Yellow Llama is a number of things to different people. We're a technology company. We're a finance company. We're a licensing company. And we're an innovation company. What we do on the technology side is develop technologies that support our clients' business needs. So take an existing business. I'll use one of our clients, Stone Mountain Park in Georgia, for whom we developed a event planning tool that enabled them to consolidate the scheduling, booking, merchandising for events planned at their facilities, thus reducing the need for a number of layers of labor that they could now redeploy in other more profitable areas. So, again, technology and innovation, it's not about being slick. It's about addressing a need, identifying and successfully addressing a need with a simplistic application that services the dynamic that need creates. And I think that in that model, the Yellow Llama model has worked very well. We also are a resource for emerging artists to assist them with branding and marketing and provide the financing for startup artists to actually promote their image work and deploy it on saleable products in the marketplace. And then we provide not only the capital, but the marketing mechanisms and distribution resources and production.
Wow.
So that's just a little touch on it. And then our licensing company licenses the El Llama retail stores, which our artists, and we're vertically integrated in all aspects. Our artist community members benefit from our retail stores in that their work is exposed in the context of our retail stores. And our licensing company actually provides the finance and the licensing for those stores, and our finance company provides the underwriting for the leases on the equipment.
Mike, what was the process of getting your product into the airport, and how has that elevated and given much more attention and created a market that you've been trying to export for some time now?
Well, the process, we actually met some great people through the music industry, but we've actually gone through a couple different avenues. One is as a concessionaire of an existing concessionaire, which we were able to get into the first airports and test this. We found out right away that if we can go in successfully into an airport, do our part of the installation and maintenance of it, and show them a viable product, then from there it seemed that the rest of the airports were very open to it. At that point, and when some airports, smaller ones, we went in direct. Other ones we go into sub-concessionaires. But again, I think it's just given a nice product that works for the airport, and then being able to abide by their restrictions and some of the stuff that you have to abide by in the airports, and also being patient with the just the airport itself and security, and so we follow a lot of rules.
Mike, have you gone into any of the executive airports yet?
No, not yet. We're actually working now with some of the airlines. We're working with JetBlue here out of Salt Lake, where we will provide kiosks instead of being in the concession areas, maybe getting to some of the gatehold areas where people are waiting, as well as working with them on a proposal to get on to possibly even some of their aircraft with TVs and monitors and stuff like that, where people can use our content. But one of the things we're doing also is, it sounds like your company makes actually a pretty good fit, is the fact that this kiosk was originally designed and programmed to be a promotional tool for the artist, where an artist could have their content on these kiosks for download, whether it's a national or a major, a local or a major independent. They could actually have their content on the kiosk and also promote their content on the screens above on the advertising screens. So we got a lot of different ways that we could gel with a company like yours to do that.
We'll be sure to connect after the show.
Milo, it sounds pretty.
Absolutely.
It sounds pretty versatile, doesn't it?
It does.
Go ahead, Milo. I'm sorry.
It does. But as a side note, Armstrong, I think what just transpired here is something that many of our listeners would benefit from and learning from, especially the younger entrepreneurs just getting started. It's not about what you do yourself. It's about how you interface with others and identify synergies that are exploitable to mutually exploitable. And
that's been so important to us from the very beginning. And that's one thing I've always told. I learned early on in business that I can't solve or do everything. That we bring on strong partners. And that's I think the key ingredient for us to be successful. My background is manufacturing. I've learned so much about the music, movie, the industry, but I'd rather bring on partners, professionals in those industries, than try to do that myself.
I know, Mike, we're going to say goodbye to you. You got the final word in this segment, so go ahead, Mike. Mike.
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
You have the final word on this segment. Go ahead.
No, I just, thank you very much for having us on. I just, we're excited, for what we're trying to do in the technology, and I think it's a matter of getting these out there, getting them exposed, exposed out there to where people can see them, and we're very excited for what we're doing, and thank you very much for having us on your show. Is there a website address? Yes, please go to mymusicbox.com, www.mymusicbox.com. Well, thank you so much for joining us, Mike, and we wish you all the best. Thank you very much. Yes. Boy, Milo, is fascinating, the different kinds of entrepreneurs that are out in the marketplace, isn't it? Absolutely. I mean, something, Armstrong, hold that point, though. Hold that point. We're going to come back after the break. We're going to talk a little politics, open up the phone calls, and get busy. Don't go away. We'll be back.
Armstrong Williams returns in a moment.
Anderson Brothers Bank, a family-owned and operated establishment that blends traditional personal service, local market awareness, and advanced technology to meet the financial needs of its customers. Visit abbank.com. or call 843-464-6271 to see how they can assist you with your banking needs. Anderson Brothers Bank, celebrating 75 years of community banking, the way it should be. Stability right in your backyard since 1933. Join the millions of Americans who pursue one of our country's finest traditions, from hunting to sport shooting. Since 1871, the NRA has grown as a service organization involved in all aspects of shooting sports and is a proud defender of the Bill of Rights. Join today to begin taking advantage of exclusive membership offers and discounts, including up to $25,000 in insurance coverage. Contact the NRA today. Call 1-800-672-3888 or visit nra.org.
This is NIH Health Matters. I'm Joe Belinfy. U.S. News & World Report recently evaluated 25 of the most popular diets, identifying the best.
And they ranked very highly the DASH eating plan and the TLC, which is the therapeutic lifestyle changes.
NIH nutritionist Janet DeJesus adds that these eating plans were ranked first and second.
I like eating plan better than diet because really, this is a change for life. Diets is that, cliche that comes up. It's usually taken negatively. So we want to say positively, healthy eating is good for you.
Both the DASH and TLC eating plans are available for free from NIH. For details, visit www.nhlbi.nih.gov. Health Matters is produced by the NIH, part of the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
What if your son or your husband,
your brother came back from the service with a spinal cord injury?
Paralyzed Veterans of America helps our veterans secure their benefits. You can help. Visit pda.org, a public service of Paralyzed Veterans of America.
If you have a question or comment for today's Armstrong-Williams Show, call 733-5620. That's 733-5620. Call and be a part of today's Armstrong-Williams Show on 620 AM, where knowledge is power.
Where heads of state, sports, entertainment, and political celebrities meet. You're listening to Armstrong Williams.
Milo, as we were going out to the break, you were about to speak on just the diversity of innovation that's out there.
I just think it's great, this country. I mean, as you know, Armstrong, I travel all over the world, and I every time I come back home, I just realize what an incredible place we live in, and it's really unmatched anywhere else on the planet. There's no place else where you could do what we do here, and where entrepreneurs can come up with an idea and translate them into businesses and employers and futures. It's just an incredible place. But that was my thought.
Disney reported today earnings of 80 cents a share on revenue of $10.78 billion. What does that mean, Milo?
It means they're making a crap load of money. No. I think what it means is that it speaks to actually a problem in America, that we spend more money on entertaining ourselves than we do on issues of import. We spend more on entertainment than we do on education. We spend more on entertainment than we do on medical discovery. We spend more on entertainment than we do on our children's futures. That's what it means, at least to me.
Does it say that our society is shallow?
Well, if not shallow, at least hedonistic. If touching back on Mike for a second, here's a guy that took a background in defense contracting and defense-related manufacturing and shifted gears to build a product that speaks to the entertainment interest of the consumer, tells you his interpretation of the priority. People want to be entertained, and there's more and more outlets. If you look at the number of companies out there that are marketing similar products to Mike's now, and they're all going after the airport market. And that's because there's people traveling through there. It's a captive audience. You got them on a plane for whatever period of time. Let's figure out a way to entertain them, because we know they'll spend money on entertainment. They'll spend money on entertainment that they're not going to spend on food.
You might be right.
Mm-hmm.
Were you surprised today that a federal appeals court ruled against California's voters approved ban on same-sex marriage, arguing the ban unconstitutionally singles out gays and lesbians for discrimination?
No, actually, I knew this was going to come up today, and I know I'm about to upset a whole bunch of people, but I'm glad they came to their senses and recognized that it violates one of the principal tenets of the Constitution.
You actually think it violates it?
Yeah, I mean, the bottom line is our country was created by people who were oppressed by a monarchy, got on rickety ships, traveled 4 months in the open ocean to settle a new land so that they could perfect their religious freedom and their belief and desire to practice their faith as they saw fit. And so freedom of speech, the freedom of happiness are core components of our Constitution. And, whether you are a Christian fundamentalist or a Orthodox Jew, regardless of what your faith-based orientation is, you're entitled to practice what you wish to practice. And as it relates to individuals' right to love and form family unions with whomever they wish to form them, God bless them, good luck, and go for it as far as I'm concerned. It's not my place to judge them. So the fact that the court had the good sense to say, hey, this isn't our place, the overturning the ruling evidence is sound thinking in my mind.
You're not going to believe this one. Jacob, you have a comment for Milo. Go ahead.
Yes, good evening, gentlemen. I just wanted to say that, you're talking about the ban on gay marriage in California getting repealed, and I think a lot of people are kind of confused about this whole deal of quote-unquote, gay marriage. Only thing gay people really want, gays and lesbians, is that they want to be able to legally identify someone so that they can handle their affairs, or, if they're spending their life with them, to be able to cover them through their health insurance plans. This thing is not about them trying to, tear down the ideal of marriage and all this other stuff that the religious right is injecting into this. I mean, a lot of us don't realize, we take it for granted that, if we get in a car accident and we go to the hospital, our husband or wives can come in and see us and things like that. In a lot of states, your domestic partner can't do that, or if something as simple as, going to pick up your paycheck from your job. Married couples can do that if somebody is not able to get into work or something, but in a lot of states, gay and lesbian couples, they're not allowed to do that because they're not recognized as a couple. So we need to take the religious aspect of this out of it and look at it in a more practical and secular sense, that if I want someone to be able to take care of my affairs, if I'm disabled or incapacitated, I should have the legal right to do that. My wife can do that for me, but it's not fair for me to deny a gay man the right to have somebody take care of his affairs.
Do you have an issue with it, with the challenge to the use of the term marriage? Because marriage actually does have a biblical origin, and
it does. I understand. But you can call it. They can call it marriage all they want. It doesn't make it so. I mean, people have done a lot of things claiming that they were doing it out of the Bible, and common sense tells you that it's clearly not the case. But at the same time, those of us who believe in the quote-unquote sanctity of marriage, we don't stand up and protest shows like The Bachelor or The Bachelorette, or people like Newt Gingrich, who take that sacred vows and they use it to make money off of it, or they use it as a term of convenience. So when they decide they don't want to be married anymore, they just toss the woman or the man to the side and move on. So if we're going to stand up against homosexuals using that term marriage, we need to stand up to heterosexuals who abuse that term marriage. The Kim Kardashians of the world,
I got to tell you
things like
something.
that.
I don't see how you can. I could understand what you were saying. I don't understand how you're making the connection. Now,
what I'm saying is that this term marriage.
I understand, but I don't see how you make that connection. I don't get it.
Here's my connection. So what we're saying. So what I understand from my Christian conservative friends is that, you know, two gay people using the term marriage, you know, puts a smear or besmirches the term marriage because it's in the Bible.
But when God speaks about marriage, it's between a man and a woman.
I understand that, but like I said, again, you know, they can call it marriage. It doesn't make it marriage. You know.
I'm sorry. What was your name?
I'm saying to you.
My name's Jacob. So let me ask you this: do you see anything immoral with two people of the same sex marrying each other?
Me personally, I don't judge because God's going to handle all that.
You judge all the time. You judge when you call in here and you take us on about things we say. So you do it all the time. So don't even try that. I'm going to ask you a specific question again. Is there anything immoral about two people of the same sex being married?
If you're going to paint a strict line on that,
I'm not painting anything. It didn't start with me. This was the beginning of the time. I'm just asking you: is there anything immoral about it?
Simple question.
I don't. I hate the sin, but I love the sinner. Okay, I'm gonna put it that way. I'm not with it. I don't understand it.
Okay, then there you go. Okay, there is nothing immoral about people who are heterosexual getting married.
Well, if they're using marriage to abuse it, you know.
Listen, you don't know what you're going to become when you're in marriage, but the idea of two people of opposite sex marriage is not immoral.
Armstrong, when Kim Kardashian got married to that guy for a month and a half for TV ratings, that was an abuse of marriage. So that is, some people would say that's just as bad as, you know, two homosexuals getting quote-unquote married.
I wouldn't say that.
It's you know, when marriage is used as a farce, then it's bad. But I mean, if we we're not, well, if you want to check,
Jacob, wait a minute. Milo needs to ask you a question before we gotta go out the break. So hurry up. Go ahead, Milo.
Armstrong asked you a very simple and direct question. Why is it so difficult to give a direct answer to it?
Because if you say that something's immoral, then you're putting your judgment on something that you don't fully understand.
But you do understand.
It's a yes or no answer.
Oh, please.
Well, I mean, I don't understand it. So yes, I'm not with that. So I don't understand it. It's not something where I'm in a position where, me personally, if you even want to change the name of it to a civil union or whatever, that's fine. What I'm saying to you is that two gay people getting married, quote unquote married, doesn't change what I had with my wife. It doesn't devalue it anymore. You know, God is going to take, at the day of judgment, God will square all that with everybody. He'll let everybody know what marriage is and you know, what marriage is in this world. So, you know, if you want to call it civil unions or whatever else they want to call it, if you just want to take that word marriage out of it, that's fine. But I think the problem with it is that gay people want to be able to have all the benefits of that relationship that they have with that person that me and my wife have.
Jacob, you have to be sore sitting on the fence like that, man.
Tell me about it. But, I mean, it's not a black and white issue because, again,
Jacob, it's a black and white issue. I have gay and lesbian friends, and my gay and lesbian friends, all I wish for them is that they have all the same rights and privileges that my wife and I enjoy. I wish for them that they have a peaceful union and a partner that cares and supports them the way my wife and children support me. And I want them to have the social, economic, and political rights that I enjoy so that their families can enjoy all the same rights that every other American has.
Jacob, thank you. We're going to a break. Milo and I will be back. Don't go away.
Armstrong Williams returns in a moment.
The Armstrong Williams Show.
Wednesday, we look at Wall Street and the financial markets with our guest commentator, Logan Delaney, right here on WGCV, 620 AM at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
WGCV, where knowledge is power.
High Point University has experienced unprecedented growth during the worst economic disruption in decades. This growth is driven by a university that focuses on holistic education, on experiential learning, and on values-based living. At High Point University, every student receives an extraordinary education in an inspiring environment with caring people. See what makes High Point University extraordinary at highpoint.edu.
To travelers along the road of life who have fallen asleep at the wheel, to the many who woke up in time to avert disaster and get back on the righteous path. For the ones who crashed and survived and now adhere vigilantly to a virtuous and righteous path. Finally, Armstrong Williams' much-anticipated new book, Reawakening Virtues, gives his insights into these daily challenges and much more. Reawakening Virtues is available in bookstores and at Amazon.com. For more information on the Armstrong Williams Show, please visit our new website at www.rightsidewire.com. There you can find his syndicated column archive, view live streams, and get your favorite conservative pundits' views on the current issues affecting the American people. From building wealth to foreign policy, stay connected with Armstrong Williams and his colleagues at the all-new www.rightsidewire.com.
Make good nutrition and physical activity part of your family's daily lifestyle. Be our guest to healthy living and visit letsmove.gov to learn more. Brought to you by Let's Move, the U.S. Department of Agriculture and the Ad Council.
If you have a question or comment for today's Armstrong Williams Show, call 733-5620. That's 733-5620. Call and be a part of today's Armstrong Williams Show on 620 AM, where knowledge is power.
Where heads of state, sports, entertainment, and political celebrities meet. You're listening to Armstrong Williams.
Ms. Paulette, thank you for your patience, your commentary on the subject we're discussing with Milo.
Yes, sir. Jacob, obviously, even though he has a traditional marriage as woman and man, well, he didn't read the part in the Bible that says it's an abomination. It's unnatural for a man to be together and a woman to be together, although the Constitution does protect that because of the pursuit of happiness and our sexual orientation, because you can't discriminate against that. That's the Constitution. But the Bible says it's an abomination. So whether he feel like the word abomination doesn't mean immoral, the Bible says it's an abomination. So that's something that you're going to hell for. If you're practicing it, you're going to hell. If you want to be delivered, you can go to heaven. But as long as you're practicing it and you die in your sins, you are going to hell.
Wait a minute. Hold on. Wait. This sounds like somebody who knows what they believe and knows what the Bible says. This sounds like something. It has nothing to do with you. Wait a minute. It has nothing to do with you. You're just talking Bible.
Right. It's the Bible. That's what the Bible says. And I believe that the Bible is right from Genesis to Revelation. So I believe that Jacob got a misunderstanding. Now, whether or not the Constitution protects it, that ain't the Bible. But the Bible says it's an abomination.
In other words, what you're saying to us is that God gives us all free will.
Oh, yes. The Bible says it's immoral. It's immoral.
And you have the free will to choose immorality.
That's exactly right. Now, how he trying to dress it up, sweeten it up, and make it look like pansies in the springtime, I don't know. But it's just not what he said it is. Not according to the Bible, but according to the Constitution, it is protected. But he need to understand what the Bible says. Even though he has a traditional marriage, now I'm sure he ain't inviting a man and another woman to be with them all together, because that's still immoral. So, I don't even know what Jacob's understanding, and maybe his religious beliefs is totally different. But the Bible says it's an abomination.
Ms. Paulette, thank you for sharing what you really believe without equivocating. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
No ambiguity there.
No ambiguity. And that's all right. That's all right.
That's okay.
It's okay. Taisha,
that's okay.
You have a comment. Go ahead.
Comment in the question. First of all, my comment is I don't agree with homosexual marriages myself. In my a question is, if we always talk about the sanctity of marriage and how it's so important, shouldn't people read the Bible and see how God feels about marriages? I mean, if he doesn't condone homosexual marriages, how do you think he feels about people who just decide they want to get married for a couple of days or a couple of years and just decide to put each other away for no reason? I mean, that's not a sanctified marriage, so I want to know how come that's not an issue either. Thank you.
Thank you, Taisha. Carla, welcome back. You're on the air. You've got the floor.
Thank you. How are you all today?
Oh, ooh. That's all I'm going to say. I'll tell you this. Here's what I'm going to tell you. Because nobody knows what any of us do in our personal lives and what we have to pray about. But let me tell you something. I don't want anybody justifying any sin for me. Because if I'm sinning, no matter if it's a sin and God can forgive me, at least tell me the truth that it's a sin.
That's right. And ultimately, God Almighty, Jehovah God, is our ultimate judge. And yes, he will judge us. However, like I think it was Miss Paulette who said that it is an abomination. And the Bible specifically says that there are some things that will not be forgiven. It's funny that we grow up being taught that God forgives all things, but he doesn't. He even tells us that blaspheming against the name of God, he said there is absolutely no forgiveness for that. This is why Judas killed himself, committed suicide, because he knew he would not be forgiven for betraying Jesus Christ. However, today, we also have things that we can be forgiven for. And God will forgive some of us, but none of us imperfect human beings can make that call. Now, as far as what the brother was saying, he is wrong in the sense that it's almost like he's condemning the person for being gay. But the truth of the matter is that God is going to have to make that judgment call on that person, because even though it's an abomination, there are some people who truly believe in their heart that what they're doing is not wrong. And it could be because they were molested when they were children. I actually knew a fellow who, him and his brother, growing up, because they wanted to play the instrument and do the kinds of things that their mother admired and not their father, they eventually fell into a life of that sort because their father was dressing them in dresses when they were children and so forth. And this man just happened to open up to me, but because he trusted me and I was able to talk to him, I lost contact with him. Years later, he saw me at the University of South Carolina and recognized me right away. And he said, guess what? He said, I'm no longer gay. He said, I've turned my life over to God, and now I understand where I went wrong. So the truth of the matter is that it's a lot of people on the earth that's doing a lot of wrong things, but the ultimate judge is God, and the Bible does talk about it being a condemnation, but we're not the ones to condemn. God is. Thank you.
It's always a pleasure hearing from you. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Milo.
Yeah, I'm here. I'm just trying to regroup from it. I hear it. I hear the the unstated subtext in those commentaries, and I respect the caller's ability to have their opinions. But I got to tell you, it strikes me that there's an underlying assumption that everybody must have the same belief. And
no. What the callers are telling you, no matter what your beliefs are, no matter what your convictions are, there's only one truth. Now, you may not accept that truth, but there's only one truth.
But Armstrong, the Jews have a perception, the Buddhists have a perception, the Christians have a perception. Everybody's wrong but the Christian?
This has nothing to do with Christianity. It has nothing to do with Buddhism. It has nothing to do with Judaism. This was before there was Buddhism and Judaism. In the beginning, there was God, and there's only one truth. You know what? I don't get caught up in organized religion. It's not because I'm a Christian or because somebody's a Jew. No. Man organized these churches and these synagogues. This is something that man decided to do. But I'm talking about a moral absolute here. There's only one truth. Now, how we want to, like what Louis did with the Church of England, he decided because he wanted to get a divorce and because he was restricted in doing so, he abolished the Church of England. He had people executed along the way, justify what he wanted to believe is true. It doesn't change what truth is. It may have worked for him for some time, but that doesn't make it the truth. People do that all the time, man. I'm talking about the truth. Now, you don't have to adhere to it. You can manipulate it. You can change it so it works for whatever you don't want to be restricted by, but there's only one truth.
Okay. Well, in as much as we can't debate that to a logical conclusion either way, I'll stand down from that one.
That's all I'm saying. No, let me tell you this. Look,
I knew you weren't going to let that go.
No, let me just say this to you. I know this. I know the truth when I hear it. It's etched in our heart, okay? Salome, you have a comment and a question. Go ahead, Miss Salome.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
I am heavily burdened. Heavily burdened to what I saw. I am a nurse. I am an educator. And I work with adult ed. This father who burned
his children.
His children.
Oh, it's awful. Awful.
No one is discussing it. Can we avoid this with other families? Seem as if, and I love your show.
Thank you.
But to see what happened. And the young families or the old families who has grands who will accept their children. Instead, this father carried his two little innocent children into a building and burned them.
Unbelievable.
Then no one, I'm surprised at you now,
let me just
that your show not discussing this, trying to help the young men and women who has problems with their children or their families to go to their family, except the family with the arms wide open to accept their children and not let them be involved or burned up or destroyed.
Milo, when you hear Miss Salome,
have a good day, and I just hope that you will discuss it or someone who has faith in families to help save our little innocent children that was burned. It's not only the family that I saw that was burned, but there's a girl here, a young lady here in jail who has destroyed or misplaced her little boy. And seems as if no one is concerned to try to save the innocent little children.
We will discuss
it. They are helpless.
Miss Salome, thank you. Milo, I can only imagine what it had to go through you when you saw that this father, these two little kids of his son, it's just overwhelming. It's unbearable to think about what people are capable of doing.
It is, but I guess
it's the times we live in.
It is.
Milo, thank you. Looking forward to the next discussion. Callers, thank you so much for listening. Great discussion today, and we can't think of everything. I'm glad Ms. Salome discussed that. You all have a blessed day, please.
Hello, everyone. This is Armstrong Williams on the right side. Don't curse, speak English. Virtuous society. I dare you to listen. Hey, turn it up. Hey, get on the right side. Elevate your mind. I'm Armstrong Williams on the right side.
Yo, man, it's your boy K.O. And you're tuned in to the most conservative of our brothers.
The Armstrong Williams Show. Please give me a break. Grow up.
The views and opinions expressed on this broadcast are not necessarily those of WGCV 620 AM, its staff or management, or our parent company, Glory Communications Incorporated.
Next, you get to talk with PA on your way home. The PA Bennett Show on WGCV 620 AM, where knowledge is power.
Are you on the system? Are you? I can't work my mouse. Are you on here? Because I can't turn this thing off.
Oh, I'm not on there. No, I'm not.
But you are, because I can't use my mouse.
I just told you no, I'm not. I don't care why you can't move your mouse. I'm not on there.
This is funny, man. I can't. It's as if you're moving the mouse because it moves opposite. I'm waiting on you so you and Nancy can meet. I can't get this. I can't shut this thing off, man. My mouse won't work.